and we'll have that available for everybody to check back in later. Or if you have a friend that missed the webinar that wants to hear what we talked about or what I talked about, why just we'll send out a link and tell you where to find that, and they can tune into that webinar. Last week's webinar is also available on the Zoom platform, so you can watch that also. So we'll try to keep all of these available. Hopefully there's little tidbits in each webinar that will be helpful to different individuals, and that's the way that part will be. The first half of tonight's webinar is going to be a follow-up to last week's webinar, some questions that have come in from different Santas and Mrs. Claus. I'll try to answer some of those and follow up to what I talked about last week. And additionally, I have some updates on the outlook for Christmas 2020. I've been doing some calling around, talking to different Santas, talking to some of the people with the photo companies and people who employ Santas for the holiday season. So I've been trying to find out what's going on in those areas. The second half of tonight's webinar should be very, very interesting because I am very happy to have as my special guest, John Laporto. John is with Talk to Santa, the world's leading source of personalized live video chats with Santa Claus. And I'll be talking with John about this. He also is going to have Elf Mike on board with us. I hope he was able to get Mike in and be part of this. And we'll talk about Talk to Santa, how it works, and try to answer some of the questions some people have had about this program. Video chat is a very big growing industry for us, and this year with the COVID-19 pandemic, a lot of Santas are worried about losing contact with their clients, and maybe Talk to Santa is one of those inroads that you can use to keep in touch with your clients, give them a service, have them have the same Santa visiting their children, even if you can't do it in person. So that's what we're going to talk about. So let's do a little follow-up on the webinar last week. I want to answer some of the questions. I do appreciate a lot of the nice notes that people sent me to tell me about what they thought of the webinar, some of the information they got. I do hope that of all the information that I put out, that it was viable. If you see there's something that you think that you have a question about or you want to comment about it, why you send me an email, let me know. And we'll see what we can do. I'm just going to check my messages real quick because most of the messages I'm seeing here from everybody right now are okay. A lot of the Santas, if you look at the group room chat, as some of the Santas have put some little notes of where to find these unique backgrounds. So, you want to check out the notes and see where you might find some of those backgrounds and things like that. Okay. Anyway, again, thank you for all the nice notes and things like that I got last week. And again, I hope all the information I give out is valuable or has some value to you in what you're doing. Surprisingly, the most common question I got last week from people was, where did you get the hand sanitizer and what's the name of it? So I have it right here. This is the Clorox sanitizer that I use on my gloves and for other things. Now, there are other products out there just like this. Basically, it's an alcohol-based spray, mister spray. You take the cap off and you just push the button and it puts out a little mist, and you can use it to clean your gloves. Basically, it's 75% alcohol. It kills all the germs on the surface. So it allows Santas sometimes to wear their gloves and not have to take them off. There are two schools of thought with regards to your hands. A lot of people think that maybe we just should have Purell and constantly use that and keep our hands sanitized in the set, not wear gloves. Other Santas like to have that aesthetic look, that beautiful white glove. And this is again where the Clorox sanitizer works. This is not bleach. Now, the name Clorox does mention, put in your mind the word bleach, but this is alcohol-based. Clorox also makes packets of sanitary wipes, disinfectant wipes that you can use to wipe down hard surfaces and things like that. Again, alcohol-based. So it's a real good product to have. And if you don't find this, there are other products out there that have an alcohol base to them that you can use. Some of them are a little bit like a gel, which is like your Purell and such. Others are just a straight alcohol liquid, alcohol and water, and maybe a little something else added in there. But again, it's really nice to have. Clorox. Okay. And again, you also got your Lysol wipes and your Purell wipes. And I even had a Santa send me a note saying that he uses Bactine. Remember Bactine? He says he uses Bactine to do some sanitizing. But the key thing is, if it is a clear liquid or a liquid, should be at least 70% alcohol to properly sanitize a surface and disinfect. The other thing I like about this little pump spray is it's good for material. The fur on your jacket or any other area like that, again, it kills a lot of germs on the surface and it evaporates very quickly. It doesn't damage the material or anything like that. Some of the Santa sets, the chairs have upholstery. An aerosol or a spray like this will also disinfect the set itself. There are other things you can go on the web and find out other information about some home remedies that you can mix up and use to sanitize the set. Someone sent me a note. He thinks that he heard about the costume companies use mixtures of, you're going to love this one, guys, vodka and water mixed together to disinfect costumes and things like that. I don't know the science of that. I don't know if it actually works or not, but it kind of just piqued my interest for a minute that we would use vodka as a sanitizing agent. But it is alcohol, so that may be a good reason. Okay, a question. I got one question came from Santa Marcelo Jacobs, and it was regarding flu shots, and he's wondering what's going to happen regarding flu shots this season. We're hearing lots of stuff in the news about all kinds of different remedies and treatments with regards both COVID-19 and regular flu. Marcelo's comment was sent to me because he was worried. He'd gotten a flu shot a couple of years back and actually ended up having the flu for almost 3 weeks. It was terrible for him, he said. And he really doesn't want to have to get a flu shot. But are we going to be required to have flu shots? And I don't think there is going to be any requirement to have flu shots, but I do recommend that you try to be as proactive as possible, getting flu shots and taking care of yourself. In my school, I talk about your health, and part of it is not just getting flu shots or pneumonia shots or things like that, but it's also keeping the body in good shape. You don't have to be a great athlete, but I recommend walking, stretching exercises. Some of the Santas and their wives do Zumba and other types of little exercising and things like that. And what you're doing is when you're active like that, first of all, it helps your cardiovascular system, which is good, okay? And it allows you to be more comfortable, and you don't perspire as much when you're on the set wearing your Santa suit because your body is functioning in a much better format than if you would just sat around as a couch potato all summer. So get up and get around, do a little something. You don't have to be, like I said, a jock, but a little walking, some stretching exercises, always good for you, okay? It also helps your immune system, keep your immune system up, because that's what helps fight colds and flu and things like that. So you want to have a positive immune system. And one thing also recommended to me, that particularly for us that are getting older, balancing. We seem to have little problems. And there's, I don't know if you've seen some of the commercials for these new things for balancing, but by doing Zumba and dancing around a little bit and things like that, it helps you keep your coordination going and helps your balance. So again, these are all good things to make you do better. Get plenty of sleep and of course eat well. Okay, that's my big problem is, the ice cream and snacks and things like that. I gotta stay away from those. But it's a good excuse for the Santa body. But you want to watch your diet too as much as you can. So try to have salads and fruits and vegetables and things like that, and eat well. Okay. Anyway, remember the flu shots are handy. And again, when you've got thousands of kids visiting you, you definitely want to make sure that you're in some good condition and are not going to be someone that could be transmitting, to any of the kids and stuff like that. And I'm admitting the last group of people in here. We're going to hit the 100 mark. And so I hope we got everybody in there. And I think number 100 was Glenn Heald, Dr. Santa Glenn Heald. Okay. And so we've got everybody, and everybody is muted right now. Yes. Okay. Next question I got came in from Santa Bill Bella, and he was wanting to know about my Santa schools. And I'm not really trying to use these webinars to promote my schools, because I'd like right now to think the fact that there are a lot of good schools and a lot of programs out there, and I'm just hoping that whatever you want for training that you could find it. But his was about my schools, because I had to postpone a couple of them: Houston and Raleigh-Durham, Kansas City, Ontario. Houston and Raleigh-Durham, we're going to hopefully by the end of this week have new dates in August. We had to cancel everything in June. The hotels could not accommodate having meetings. The meeting rooms I usually use will hold about 24 people. They're just a small hotel meeting room. But with the even with the pandemic and the social distancing guidelines, we could only have 8 people in a meeting, and one of the hotels even required that everybody had to wear masks all the time. Just wouldn't work well for our group. And 8 students, unfortunately, doesn't make it fiscally practical. So we're postponing the Raleigh-Durham school and the Houston school. Those will be in August. So we'll have dates for those very shortly for those people who are doing it. Kansas City and Ontario, we really didn't have a lot of registration on those, so we've canceled those 2 dates. The first school I'm going to do this year will be in July, middle of July. It'll be in Orlando at the Christmas Dreams location where we had our school last year. And we have a big room there. Actually, the room is actually a big hall, like a church hall. And we'll be able to have 24 to 30 people there very easily with lots of social distancing. So it should be very nice. That will be a weekday school. So it's going to be a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday school. And we'll be doing that in Orlando. And then in September, I have a school in Tucson. And this is going to be at the Westward Host Wyndham Resort and Spa, which is a beautiful resort hotel, dude ranch, if you want to call it. This is where Hayden Sundblom of Coca-Cola fame painted many of his paintings. In fact, the children you saw in the Coca-Cola ads in the paintings were two girls who lived right there in Tucson, and they were his models for all of the pictures that he painted. And one of the paintings that he did was a gift to the owners of the resort. It's on display there. But we've got great rates, and it'll be after Labor Day in Tucson. So if you're interested, we have that. So that's enough about my schools. I know there are other schools out there. I think Sat Bob's has got something planned in Tennessee at the end of July. Other locations, I mean, other people I'm sure are working on their schedules as to what they're being offered. I know that the Charles W. Howard School is still scheduled, for the first week in October, I believe. So a lot of things are still going. It's just having to find the school that you want and would like to go to. And speaking of schools, I got a call today, and iBurbs has 8 scholarships this year that they're going to award. These are $250 scholarships for individuals to go to the school of their choice. So if you are an iBurbs member, you can go online to their website, you can fill out the application and apply for a $250 scholarship to attend a Santa school. So, that's something out there, but that's the iBurbs, International Brotherhood of Real Bearded Santas. So again, very good. By the way, I got a note here. A couple of people are saying that using vodka to clean the Santa suits is unfortunately a waste of vodka. Good vodka. Okay. I'm going to get into a little insight on the outlook for the coming holiday season. And again, I've been doing some calling around, trying to talk to different people, trying to find out what's going on, because a lot of Santas have asked me, what's going to happen? Are we going to get to work this year? Are families still going to have Santa? Are the malls still going to have Santa? Are people still going to come and get pictures taken? So much of that is up in the air. We don't know where it is. We don't know what's going to happen. And we have to be prepared that it may not go the way we want it to go. And this is going to be a bit of a difficult thing for all of us to handle. So I started doing a little investigative work, playing detective, pretending I was a reporter, let's say, you know, an investigative reporter. Well, I called people I knew, tried to find out what I could for you. Cherry Hill, of course, is the largest company supplying Santas all over the country. They're very quiet, very close. They keep everything very private. They like to keep the magic of Santa and not discuss their things. So really couldn't get into what they were doing. I have heard that they're looking at about 600 mall locations, that they have actually, some locations, they're not going to have Santa this year. It's just, they just don't see it feasible with all of the headaches that are going on. But I think even 600 is underestimating it. They have a lot more malls than that. But I did talk to a couple other photo companies that have quite a few malls and event locations, theme attractions where they supply Santas. And they're looking at having Santa there this year. A couple big malls that I've talked to, where I've actually done their recruiting for them, helping place their Santas there year after year, talked to them also and found out, you know, what their plans are. Every one of them is planning to go forward and having Santa on the set this year. They want to have regular Christmas just as normal as they've always had. They want the tradition to continue. However, they don't know what's going to happen either. They're in the same position we are. They don't know what's going to happen. Will things open up? Will they be allowed to have, you know, Santa on the set? You know, some of these governors are talking about, you know, not allowing group meetings and big meetings. You know, I do the Hollywood Christmas Parade every year. Well, I've heard that the mayor of Los Angeles doesn't want to have large gatherings of people until after the end of the year, which means no parade. Wow, that's kind of a shock. You know, I'm sure that everybody in Los Angeles would hope that that changes, and I'm hoping too, because I would love to go out and be in the parade again. This will be my 18th year. But in the meantime, I have found out that these people that want to have Santa, some of them have already started working on backup plans or options, let's say. Many of them that I've talked to have not done any contracts. They've taken applications, they're doing interviews, but no contracts. That's the same thing I'm hearing about Cherry Hill. They've got applications, they've been talking to Santas, they're doing a little bit of recruiting for some locations, but no contracts have been sent out yet because they don't know what's going to happen. And they don't want to be locked into a contract or to guarantee anything with the Santa until they know for sure that everything is going to move forward. So again, we'll just have to wait on those type of things. But one of the photo companies I talked to said that they had basically 4 things that they were looking at doing. Number one, they want to have that photo set with Santa working. Number 2, they want to make sure that the photo set is something that when the families and people come there, they feel comfortable. So they're going to want to make sure that there are hand purifying stations nearby, and that maybe while the people are waiting in line, they see you know, staff, you know, wiping down Santa's set every once in a while, or Santa using his spray. A couple of them have mentioned that they're going to go to using appointments with people so that they will not have to worry about long lines, and they can keep the social distancing very reasonable because there'll not be long crowds waiting because everybody's working by appointment. So those are some of the things that, you know, they're working on. As a backup to that, though, if the social distancing was a problem, they would have the Santas available to get up from the set, stand to the side of the family or behind the family. There'll be no children sitting on Santa's lap if that is a problem with the social distancing. Now, if it gets worse than that, the idea was that maybe they wouldn't have Santa on the set. They would have the photographer maybe, and they would take pictures with the family on the set. Maybe the family would have some props or some things that they could hold in the pictures and have a little bit of fun. And in this case, this is a big job. The photographer's got to really keep these people happy and entertained, because it's the photographer's job to do the work on the set. But that would be an option that, again, no Santa. Another option one company is working on is their testing. They've done a lot of green screen work over the years. And green screen, for those of you who've done it, it's just like right now I have a green screen behind me. This is not really my backdrop. This is my a photo of my Santa workshop that I had when I lived in Riverside, California, with my Santa chair and all my props and such. So it makes a nice backdrop. And some of you I see have some nice backdrops of cabins in the mountain and or lush green gardens out back, that type of stuff. Again, green screen allows you to do that. This company's working on photos. They've taken pictures with the Santa on a set, or on a Santa type set, and Santa's posing and doing different things. He's posing like the family could stand in front of the green screen and he's right behind them, or he's standing off to the side with them, or maybe they're sitting in a chair and he's peeking in as they're in the chair, but he's just part of a green screen. He's not really there. So they're testing some things like that to see if that would work. Again, these are all options that they're looking at. This weekend, some of you were probably part of a video conference where we had one of the Macy's Santas talking to us. And he was saying that the Macy's Herald Square in New York is doing everything by appointments now. Instead of having long lines, going through the store and past all the different counters and people spending hours in line waiting to see Santa, they now are having it done by appointment. So the lines are shorter, and again, for social distancing, a perfect way to handle everything. So these are just some of the things that are being done right now to help us with all the things that are going on. And the green screen may be one of the things that people will be doing. I've seen some messages. I know some of you, I think someone sent me a note about Santa being inside a snow globe. And the family, being standing outside, and so there's a plastic window or a barrier between Santa and the family. That's nice social distancing, but we might as well put Santa in a plastic box, if you want to put it that way. I don't think it would work. So I don't see that being done. So that's just some of the information I've been collecting. If you have some information you think would be nice to share, I invite you to send it to me. And we'll try to get it out to everybody. The other thing is, if you have questions, maybe I didn't cover something, you have a question about something, send the question to me. I'd be glad to look into it. Sometimes, and I always tell people, I don't always have every answer. I'm trying not. Sometimes it's a little heady. I'm not a know-it-all. My wife says, remember, it's not about you. Okay, so I have to remember that it's not always about me, but. If you send me a question and I don't know the answer, I may know someone I could call, another Santa, another professional. There's guys out there, we've got, Gordon Bailey, who knows tons and tons of stuff about what's going on in this industry, what's happening with the different photo companies and the different people out there. We got Phil Wentz, of course, premier Santa, who's done so many things over the year, and lots of other wonderful Santas out there who are connected. There's members of the board of both iBirds and Forbes. They're also well connected and know lots of things. So again, if I don't know, maybe one of them knows what's going on something. So again, you can check on it. Plus there's the chat rooms and the Facebook groups and stuff like that. So you can always talk to your fellow Santas and find out things like that from some of those people out there. I'm seeing some notes here about Santas wanting to know, we just got a note, Northern Lights Academy, and I believe that's a group, I believe it's in Georgia, I'm not sure, but they're going to have a fall session. And he's saying August 1 to September 3. So I guess that's different weekends or something like that during that time period. Someone, Roger Edmonds, just sent us a note that he did get an offer of a contract from Cherry Hill. So I guess some contracts are going out now. So that's good to know. And so that's where we are right now with a lot of these questions here. And again, there must be 100 of them already coming in from all of you. now that we've got through all of that, I want to talk about one of the newer things that's been going on and what some of the Santas are worried about. Even though Santa is still a bit old-fashioned, okay, and likes to travel by sleigh, the elves of the North Pole have been very, very active in trying to help him out to do different things to make his work better. And I'm trying to get back to my Zoom page. I've lost it here. And where did it go? I always love it when I do this. 1 second, guys. And I'm getting Florine Vera, and I don't know, I don't want to hide video. So you guys have to bear with me a minute. I'm going to find John Laporto here and get John into our group. Okay, there we are. We're back now. Okay, I lost everybody for a second. Let's see where John is hiding in here. He's hiding in one of these groups here. And let's go ahead and you have to bear with me. Santa Tim is a bit of a geek when it gets to be working with all this. Let's see, JR, Paul, down there, George, Sherry, send it on. Okay. Got about 25 per page. Okay. There's John. I found him now. And we're going to unmute him. I hope you're unmuted, John.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now. So, with today's ever-changing technology, supported by Santa's technical staff, which is Elf Mike. I don't know if Mike got on with us or not.
Mike is on the call as well. And it'd be worth unmuting Mike. I'll talk a little bit about what Talk to Santa is all about, but if any of the Santas really want to know how the sausage is made and how it works, Mike's a smart one on the theme.
Well, let me give John his official opening, and I've unmuted Elf Mike, so he's also on board here with us now. But John Laporto and two of his buddies, and I put together Talk to Santa back in 2014. His career has been in high tech. He's been a serial entrepreneur with companies in computers, communications, smart grid, energy storage, advanced fuels, medical devices, data storage, all kinds of stuff. And Talk to Santa is actually a big hobby for him, which I can't think of it as being a hobby, because I would think that it's one of those things that you're going to be doing this 24/7, for 3 or 4 months, just getting it online, getting it going, getting the reservations in, and then all of that last part of November and all of December with all the calls and things like that. So I guess it can be a lot of work. So anyway, I want to get started with it. And first of all, so I might as well just really start out with to John. What is Talk to Santa?
So first, thanks for inviting us tonight, Tim. This is the first one of your webinars I've attended, and I got to say I'm really impressed with the sellout crowd. It's great to see all of the Santas here in one spot. So as Tim mentioned, we got this thing started back in 2014. Me and Mike and another buddy of ours, Paul, decided to set this thing up as, the time was really a bit of a hobby business, kind of a good karma project, help raise a little bit of money here and there for Toys for Tots. But I think now, after 6 years of doing this, we're in a position to really save Christmas. And as this COVID-19 crisis presents us all with this unknown, are the stores or the malls going to have live Santas this year? I think the video Santa experience is ready to step in and fill the void if needed. So what really makes Talk to Santa a little different, we spent, candidly, a lot of money developing this over the years. It's a bit like an airline scheduling system in addition to the video technology. We schedule all of the different Santas with the families. We can bring in remote relatives. So particularly this year, you know, grandma may not be there for Thanksgiving or for Christmas. We can bring in grandparents, aunts, uncles in other windows on that chat session. Where the family really participates is they fill out a questionnaire on the child when they book the chat. And so what happens is, instead of you coming on the screen and saying, ho, 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 what's your name, little boy? You're going to come on and, ho, 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 Mikey, it's so good to see you again. I can't believe you won the baseball MVP trophy a second year in a row, and the spelling bee and the math fair and whatever else. But, you know, I understand from Mom that you're still not being nice to your little sister all the time. And what about cleaning up after that new puppy? And you know everything about them. You know their best friend, their favorite teacher, their hobbies, their favorite sports, their favorite athletes. It really makes it a bit magical. And the trick is keeping this all scheduled. We offer the experience in two different formats. We do it live, where you come on and you're chatting with one child. Some families will want you to chat with, you know, 2 or 3 children in that same session. It's obviously more impactful if you do them one-on-one. We also offer these as pre-recorded videos. And a lot of customers order these for children who are too young, maybe too shy to interact with Santa Claus. And
it's also good for families who don't have a camera.
Exactly.
Who don't want to use a camera.
And here, you know the same information about the child, and they're going to get that video of you talking to little Susie, little Mikey, and still knowing all these magical insights, both good and bad. And I'll tell you, during this Christmas season, my wife and I don't really watch much TV because we kind of watch the Santa channels. And I love watching the kids' eyes go wide when you guys tell them things that they didn't think you really knew. And that's what makes it so much fun.
That was going to be my next question. What makes the Talk to Santa child experience unique? And I think you covered a good part of that there.
Oh, that's the magic. Santa knows everything before he ever starts talking.
I know that many Santas out there. I know that many Santas out there have question sheets that they sometimes will send to a family to fill out and then send it back to them, so they've got all the information about the kids before they go into the house. It's the same thing with Talk to Santa, right?
Yes, and it's right up on the screen, so that you know you've got your little crib sheet up there as you're talking to the children. Some of the Santas have chosen in the past to, you know, do a cut and paste and print it out, have it next to them, but it's all personal preference.
It's great. Now, what's the price of a live call, and what does it include?
So the price varies on date. We charge premiums for Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, and we pay the Santas a premium for Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. Mike, what is the latest price schedule you've got online? You're muted.
Oh, I'm sorry. You shouldn't be muted, Mike. I'll unmute you. There you go. You're open, Mike. Go.
Sorry. Yeah, sorry. I muted myself because I've got like 15 people texting me right now, so I was trying to be quiet. Price point, it depends upon exactly when they book, because the closer it gets to Christmas, we start increasing it. So like early bird special, if you want to do it in November, we start off like at $19.95 for a week, and then it goes to $24.95, and then it goes. We basically bump it up $5 a week, and until Christmas Eve. And Christmas Eve is $44.95. Christmas Eve. If for whatever reason, Christmas Eve is the absolute busiest time at 9 p.m. on Christmas Eve. We sell out every single year, and it is absolutely nuts. So it's like, I don't know why people want to talk to Santa at 9 p.m. on Christmas Eve, because I would kind of imagine the sleigh is already loaded and gone. But that 9 p.m. is the number one time on Christmas Eve.
And how many children can be part of a call?
Well, we can put, we don't, for that video, we do six children, and then we can have six children at one location, and then 4 other locations can join in. So basically there's 6, if you count Santa, there's 6 locations that maximum. So at the main location, you can have up to 6 children. And every once in a while we can, or I can, let's put it that way, make arrangements if they have a few more in there. But what happens is it becomes not really a personal thing, because when you have 6 children, and it's real hard to go through and talk to all 6 of them in a 10-minute phone call or a 10-minute video, which is about the average, lasts somewhere between 8 to 10 minutes. There's a few that'll go over, but anyway, but that's very, very rare. The majority of them are 2 to 3 children is the majority. And
also use those additional windows for special effect with corporate sponsorship. So for instance, in the past, Coca-Cola has sponsored these chats for families of active duty military personnel. And there's Santa and the child on the screen, and lo and behold, down below is mom or dad from some forward operating theater. And it's an extra magical surprise.
It is quite unique. I've seen some there where mom is at home with the kids, dad is in the service somewhere, grandma is in San Diego, and Aunt Harriet is in Minnesota, and they're all watching Santa talk to the children.
Yeah, that is from my end, I get to watch all the videos, and like John said a little while ago, because of the fact that Santa has all the information, they all believe when it's done. Even I get all the comments, because at the end of the chat they're able to leave comments, and I see a lot of the parents will write, our 9-year-old still believes after that. Thank you so much. That was that was unbelievable. So yeah, that is the cool thing about being able to know all the stuff about the children.
Yeah. Now, for the price that they pay, the families also there's some other things that are in there. I think they get their invitation and things like that.
Sure, but whenever they book it, each child gets an invitation to join. So it's a real nice parchment paper, email, but it's got an invitation with their name on it, what time it's going to be, so the parents can print it out and give it to them. And they also get, at the end of it, they get a nice certificate. Same thing. It's a design, just a piece of paper that they can print out with our design on it. It says, Johnny's been, officially on the nice list for 2020. And then they also, throughout the year, they get an email birthday card from Santa. So those are the things they get, and they get a copy, and they get a copy of the video too, which they can, everybody keeps it and saves it forever.
Well, that's the nice thing is too, because if there's a relative that doesn't get to tune in at the live part, they can see the video later.
Right, correct. Yep.
Yeah.
And most of the moms end up posting these videos to Facebook and their other social media. And so that is how we get a lot of our businesses, just from that viral aspect of one mommy in the neighborhood posts it and the rest of the kids get signed up.
Now, we've talked about the children participating and other friends and relatives. I'm sure some of the other Santas would be interested in knowing that there are ways that this can be used to extend the Santa season.
Correct.
Can you tell us about that, John?
Yeah. Sometimes you'll have corporate sponsors wanting to do things like Coca-Cola did for the military families or for children's hospitals. And particularly this year, that's not going to be possible with live Santa visits in those hospitals. So there's opportunities to work with different corporate groups. We can also do this with your existing customers. So let's say you have, your 100 families that year after year you go visit. But, this year, most of them say, you know what, Santa, we love you, but we're practicing social distancing. I've got my elderly mother living with us. She's high risk. We're not having anyone into the house. we have what we call a VIP program where, you could be Santa 007. And actually, if I could share my screen, Tim, I'll bring up some slides to show everybody what some of these VIP cards look like and some of the other programs.
Okay, if you can do that, go ahead. I don't know if I have to do something here or not.
Yeah, it says host disabled attendee screen sharing.
Let's see, one participant can share at a time. Well, let's see. I don't know if that helped or not. Multiple participants, okay. And, well, I've just...
Can you guys see my screen now?
There's your compensation plan. We see it.
Okay. So let me flip through to the VIP. So every Santa in our program is assigned a VIP number. And then you get these business cards with your VIP number on them. So you can send these out to your customers and say, I'm working with a platform called Talk to Santa this season. If you book your reservations through Talk to Santa and book Santa 007 or 408, you'll be guaranteed to get me. And then similarly, as you attend with new families through the Talk to Santa reservation system, they can request that, oh, I want that same Santa next year. And, we just let them know, use VIP Santa 007, and they'll always book you in the schedule. So
here's another neat thing about that. Maybe you are going to visit that family on Christmas Eve, but 2-3 weeks before Christmas, the kids are getting ready to get out of school, and maybe mom and dad want to do a little reinforcement to make sure they don't get into mischief before Christmas. So they set up a pre-Christmas call, and it's the same Santa making the phone call that's going to be in their home. So you can do that with your clients. Or maybe you visit a client in the beginning of December, or you run into them at a corporate event and they say, gee, we really like having you, and we'd love the kids to see you. We met you here at the corporate party. You can give them that VIP card and they can set up a VIP call to their kids.
What we're also hearing, Tim, from some of our past customers is there's an interest in having Santa just talk to the kids about what's going on right now and how to stay safe and, washing your hands, as you're saying, singing jingle bells and all of that type of thing. Just the reassurance that comes from Santa Claus as a loving character.
So the VIP program, it is kind of neat. Now, I just saw another screen there, and you had flipped through it, and it mentioned what the incentives are for the Santas. So we might as well let them know about that, since they saw it already.
Oh, the intent was to take everybody through this. So the payment schedule for this is the Santas get paid per video chat, and it doesn't matter whether it's a live chat or one of the pre-recorded chats. The beauty of the pre-recorded is you can bang these out in your basement all night long in your bunny slippers, and it's at your own schedule. The live chats obviously are around the time windows when the little ones are awake and ready to go. On Christmas Day and Christmas Eve, we pay out double at $20 per session for those. And then on the VIP bookings, since it's your customer to begin with, and you're just leveraging the platform, we pay an extra 20% on all calls booked through the VIP codes.
And you can do what, about 6 calls an hour?
Mike, what do you find? 5?
Yeah, about 5 or 6. Yeah, just kind of, it depends. Yeah, but 5 or 6 is kind of average.
So you can see that if you were a very prolific Santa, you could make more doing this than you would sitting in a mall, looking at the hours and such. I don't think any Santa wants to be sitting there 12 hours a day in their living room making calls, but for those Santas who, we also have some Santas that physically can't work a mall operation or even do home visits, but they can sit at a station in their den, their office, wherever, and for a couple hours each day, make a little extra money and continue enjoying the magic. And one of the neat things I like about this is that there are Santas out there who not only give the magic to the families, they're talking to the families, brings magic back to them. I don't know if you guys have any friends like that, but there are some Santas that their joy of life is the fact that they get to talk to the kids. They get to bring joy to families. And even if they can't physically get around, being able to do it through Talk to Santa has allowed them to keep that window open and keep that joy in their life.
And we have some of those Santas in our community, you know, folks that have suffered amputations, have compromised immune systems, recovering from a surgery, and this lets them still be in the red chair.
That's great. That's great. I wanted to ask you briefly, okay, you got another little thing here? Talk about that.
There are a couple ways for the Santas to earn money with Talk to Santa. So we were talking about, you know, corporate groups. Companies may want to give away these videos. I think they'll typically give away the pre-recorded videos, which are a little, not a lot, but a little bit less expensive. But, you know, picture family-facing companies like a car dealer, right? Come in, take a test drive in a new minivan. Here's a gift certificate for a free pre-recorded video chat on Talk to Santa. Or, you know, here's a punch card with your 10th pizza. You get a video chat with Santa Claus. There's so many different ways you can approach local businesses that you have relationships with to earn additional sales commissions. And at your discretion, you could book these all under your VIP number. So if, you know, Luigi's Pizza gives out punch cards and there's 200 videos that come off of that, they could all be booked under a VIP code. So in addition to the sales commission, you're also getting the Santa work.
Oh, this is a part of, you know, this is a part of your program I didn't know about. It's quite unique, you know.
Yep.
So if we've got some Santas out there who are connected, I guess, with companies or corporations, maybe there's some opportunities there to fill in the voids of when you can't do some of the other Santa visits and stuff like that.
You know, where so many of our Santas are retired, a lot of these guys even come back to their old employers and said, hey, here's something I'd like you to really consider as an HR benefit. You know, give every family a Santa chat. Give, you know, this is a customer giveaway.
Yeah. Well, we've got a few minutes left, and I wanted to get into a little bit of the questions some of the Santas have. Well, okay, I'm interested, but what is it going to require me to do? What do I have to do to get involved with this? How much is it going to cost me to set up and do this?
Well, it depends what you already have. So we provide, here's an example of our backdrop. And, you know, if we do this for a corporate group, there may be custom backdrops, right? This could say, you know, on the other side of the mantle next to that Toys for Tots, for the Coca-Cola program, there was a little Coca-Cola polar bear. You could have, you know, Crazy Mike's Chevy logo over there or something. We provide the backdrops. What you need to provide is obviously your usual Santa wardrobe. And you're also going to need to have a video conferencing capable computer.
If you're on here, you're already there.
Yeah. If you can do Zoom, you're good to go.
You're good.
Yeah, you need a decent camera on your computer,
Yep.
and you need good bandwidth, right?
Correct. Yeah, the better the bandwidth, it's not so much the download speeds as the upload speeds. The ones that are the kind of the worst is AT&T when you have DSL, because if you live way out in the country, they typically don't have very fast. But it's the upload speed that you're more worried about than the download speed. And if you get above 2.5, you're okay. So
Now I'm looking right now, and Elf Mike has the background behind him. Now that's a green screen, right?
That's a green screen, yeah.
Okay. But you also send out actual
An actual one, yeah,
cloth
just like that. Right. Mhm.
backdrop banners that the Santas can hang up on a wall in their office or whatever.
Correct.
We've been having an internal debate on whether to use green screen technology this season.
Well, Mike needs to do a little work on his.
No, trust me, I know. This is a little bit different software. I was testing it out the other day, and I just haven't tweaked it very much. So there's no green screen here at all. I have no lighting. I have no green screen at all. So.
Yeah, I have, now this is a green screen on mine. I don't know if I can open mine up or not, but I have the, I don't have the, I thought I might have the Talk to Santa background on mine, but I don't.
Yeah, there's no green screen behind me, period.
Uh-huh. So your Zoom is taking and doing all of the computer work to get rid of.
Trying to. It's not perfect yet. That's what I said. I'm trying real hard to see if I can't get this software to work. And it's not, it's not great, as you can see.
Okay. I'm double checking some questions here. Is there a web page showing the corporate information that he could refer to corporate users, or should they be contacting you direct?
Well, to sign up, you go to talktosanta.com. At the bottom, there's the footer. There's a little link that says SS, which is Santa sign up. We try to hide it under SS at the very footer in the bottom of talktosanta.com, and that way the children aren't down there trying to sign up to be a Santa. So that's the best way to sign up. Or you can always email me, is Mike at talktosanta.com, or elfsupport@talktosanta.com works too.
By the way, I've talked to John, and John is going to, John and I are going to do a special webinar one night for any Santas that are interested in just this program. And so we can actually, because I've got about 70 Santas that sent me notes back from another email I sent out last week that said they were interested. So we're going to try to work on that. So if you're interested in the program, send me an email. I'll add you to the list. And then when we set up that special webinar, I can add you to it, and then we can give you more information and answer more questions. I did have one question for either John or Elf Mike. Someone wanted to know, how does scheduling work? Now, because I know that there's two parts of scheduling. Part is the Santas have to kind of tell you when they're going to be available, so the families can then book that.
So
how does it work?
So we have a scheduling program. So you go in, if it's not a VIP call, it's first come, first serve. So you go into your profile and we've got time slots booked. So you just check the time. You say, okay, Monday, December 5th, I'm available 10 a.m. to noon, and I'm going to take an hour off and go eat lunch. And then you just keep checking the boxes that you want to work. And then when the customer goes, and it's all based upon your time zone. So if you're in California, it'll make the adjustments for somebody's booking a Santa that's on the East Coast. And so when they go to book a Santa, like I said, this is a non-VIP call. So it's just a random deal. So if I'm on the East Coast, I put in, I want to talk to Santa at 3 p.m. on December the 2nd. And it'll show the time slots available, just kind of like booking an airline, booking a plane ticket. That if you go and say, oh, well, here's the flight, this is what time the flight is, and so you select the flight, which is you, the Santa, and then you click book, and then once that happens, you get an email notification, you get a text message, and it shows you being booked in your profile. When you log in, you click connect to the person, and there you go. But you put in your schedule what you want to work. So the software wants you to, we require you work at least 1 hour a day if you're going to do it. And as we get closer to Christmas, we start changing we set the software so that, like right now, we're live right now. If somebody books you right now, they got to book you at least 8 hours in advance because, who knows, you might be out running around somewhere. But as we get closer and closer to Christmas, we start moving that time up so that, generally speaking, last week of Christmas, you're going to get a 1 hour notice that you just got booked. And typically the people that are, are there, they're working anyway. So you got to, the people can book you 1 hour in advance. Right now they can't.
I think the key thing that Santas need to know is you're going to get a 1 hour notice, but you've already told Talk to Santa you're going to be available at that time slot.
Correct.
What they're doing is, so you've given them, say you're going to work from 6 to 7 p.m. at your home. You'll get a notice and it'll tell you that somebody has booked you for 6 p.m. or 6:15 or something like that. And you'll get that notice in advance as an email. So you know that you're going to have calls during your time slot. So you have that luxury. And early in the season, you may set up a 6 to 7 o'clock and may not get anything, But over the last couple of years, Talk to Santa has started getting so many hundreds of calls that just about every Santa that signs up to do some work is getting calls. So it's and this year it's going to be even bigger.
And one other thing is we have a part there that if they go to sign up and there's not a Santa available with the time they want, they can put in a request so that it'll say, hey, we want to talk to Santa at 9 o'clock on Tuesday night, and we're sold out, so to speak. There's no time slots at 9 o'clock. Well, they can put in that they request 9 o'clock. When you go into your profile, you can see all the people that are the time slots that we have available. And if you click on and say, hey, I'm available, we immediately email that customer to say, hey, we do have availability right now. So if you want to go book the Santa, please go book him now, or go book a chat. You can go do it right now.
And then
I did have a question from one of the ladies, John, and
yes.
I know this is not, she's probably not going to like the answer. We do have some Mrs. Claus talking to the kids, but how do you handle that? Because we do have a lot of Mrs. Claus now out in the Santa community that are interested in things like this.
We don't schedule Mrs. Claus sessions, but if you go to our Facebook page, for example, we do have a Mrs. Claus that is it every week she reads stories to the kids now, Mike?
Yeah, she does a story. Mrs. North Pole updates from Mrs. Claus. Yes.
So there are opportunities to work with us in different marketing capacities if you're a Mrs. Claus, but the system is really set up to book purely Santa Claus.
And unfortunately, it's very difficult because once you put out the idea that Mrs. Claus is available, the way the system's set up, that would mean that every Santa would have to have a Mrs. Claus. The system, it's not as selective as we would like it to be, to where you could target that type of thing. And so unfortunately, the way it's set up right now, it doesn't allow for the Mrs. Claus to be in every home with every Santa.
And a lot of Santas will have Mrs. Claus with them in their video chats. So Mrs. Claus is just there. And she wants to join in too. So they're there, she's there as well.
Right. That might be something for like the VIP Santas too.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Because again, they've had Mrs. Claus come to the home and visit the family and it's their community and things like that. But it's not something that's actually advertised on the entire Talk to Santa site. Am I correct?
But if some of you gentlemen like doing a husband-wife team, we have no objection to you delivering these chats as Santa Claus and Mrs. Claus.
So it would just be a surprise to the family that Mrs. Claus is there too.
Correct.
Yep.
Okay. I hope that helps, Nina. Nina asked that question, and I thought we'd let everybody know. Okay. Do we have any? I'm looking at. Let's see. Do you have to be available every day for at least 1 hour, or just available at least 1 hour on the days you sign up for?
1 hour for the day you sign up for.
Okay. So in other words, if you're already working private parties on Friday, Saturday, Sunday night, you can't do Talk to Santa. But you might be available Sunday mornings. You might be available Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, things like that. And again, I know some Santas have told me that they have done, they do their regular work and then they do the pre-recorded calls in the evening after they get back from the mall and stuff like that. So
that's
there's
been
lots of
a very
opportunities.
popular option.
Yeah. I'm trying to see if I've got any more questions for you, John and Mike. We talked about what does Santa need to get started? What does Talk to Santa supply? What protocols are there that the Santa needs to go through once they contact you on the SS site? What do you put them through? What rings or hoops do they have to jump through before they get the banner in the background?
Sure. Once you sign up, then you have to record an audition video, which is on the site. Just click record audition video, and you can play with that for a while. We have a thing called Santa's Playground, so you can adjust your equipment and all that. And we just kind of have some dummy data, so to speak, for the audition. And you're going to do a sort of what a live video would be, as you do. So we can look at your lighting, we can see what the speed of your computer is. We'll go back and critique the video. How's that you recorded? And once we do that, say again.
You usually use it primarily as a tech check.
Yeah, it's a tech check, yeah. And to give the Santa okay, your lighting, move that light around, turn that, your camera's too high, there's glare off your glasses, etc. But the one thing that like 80% of the Santas do when they do this is they rock back and forth when they're talking like this. That's the number one thing, because everybody's like, oh, and Mrs. Susie, I see this, and your dog is that, and that's the one thing that's the hardest thing to get everybody to break the first time. Anyway, but after that, we got a little contract you sign, nothing special. Just says, here's how you're getting paid in paydays and stuff like that. And then we send you a backdrop, and you can start scheduling yourself.
Thank you, Elf Mike. I've gotten a bunch of other questions here that people have sent in. We're going to try to get those over to John and Elf Mike and probably try to get back to you on it. I know that anytime someone has a program or a project of some sort with Santa and Christmas and stuff, it doesn't always match the demographics of the entire community. In other words, Talk to Santa is pretty well developed to handle most scenarios with children and families and calls and things like that. But I'm sure it doesn't match everything, just as some people don't want to go to certain malls where they're charging $49.95 just to go in and see Santa, and if you don't have $49.95, you can't go in. So at least this program allows people for a reasonable price to get Santa in their home, even if they can't get to the mall, which is also quite good. So. I wish I could answer all the questions. We are past the 9 o'clock hour, which was supposed to be my cutoff. I try to keep these to 1 hour. So what I'm going to do is any of the questions that come in between now and next week's webinar, which will be at the same time, 8 o'clock next Tuesday night, we'll probably open up in the first part. We'll answer some more questions on it. Also, anybody interested in a separate webinar just about Talk to Santa and being part of their program, we'll send you an invitation on that and tell you how you can be involved in this type of program. That's basically all I have for this evening. I do want to thank John Laporto and Elf Mike for taking the time this evening. By the way, they're based in Colorado. So if you're ever get out that way and you're driving around town and you see a guy cruising around with big ears, that's Elf Mike.
Yep. Big ears, no hair.
Take care, everybody, and we'll talk again soon. God bless you all.
Thank you.
Have a good night.